Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to 9 p.m. English News Edition. The headlines. Minister of Health calls for greater vigilance to deal with COVID-19. On international scene, India still overwhelmed by second waves. Those was the headlines and welcome to the national news. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Anglais, has suggested to receive a congratulatory message from the German Chancellor Ms. Angela Merkel as part of the continuous telegram reaching him since his brilliant re-election to the Jewish Supreme Magistracy. On the occasion of your relation for a new mediator over you by my warmest congratulations, wrote Ms. Merkel in her telegram. Your relation offer you the opportunity to further increase the potential of your country for the benefit of Jewish, she then noted. The German Chancellor then used the message to praise Jewish positive role in the region. Your country is a reliable partner for peace and stability in Horn of Africa, she said. As a long-standing partner, Germany is ready to continue to accompany Djibouti in a spirit of friendship. She continued before reiterating the expression of its high consideration to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mergele. In view of Eid al-Fitr festivity and the risk of resurgence of the COVID-19 contamination, the Minister of Health, Mohammed Warsam Durie, called for vigilance and precaution and respect for barrier gestures. As the epidemiological situation is currently in progressive regression, the Minister of Health urged the population to be more vigilant in protecting themselves and others. The nursing staff and medical specialists of the regional hospital, Dr. Ahmed Absiya Warsama, work endlessly to provide quality service and care to the population of the Southern region, covering all the region of the South. This level 3 hospital has provided to be up to its prerogative by successfully performing the prescription and therapeutic management of patients and by responding effectively to this additional demand due to the demographic growth in the capital of the region of Al Sabi. Equipment with a modern technical platform, the Al Sabi Regional Hospital is a technological flagship that offers quality service in terms of the hospitalization, a modern and effective resuscitation service. Dr. Jose Antonio Rodriguez, a specialist in intensive care at the regional hospital, explained to us in an interview that the equipment, the scope, that the beds and the respiratory machines installed, the intensive care units are well equipped and modernized. The service of intensive care and hospitalization are largely equipped with the technology as the sole source of the monitoring. The computer is tracing the curves of the constant on the screen, connected to a central station which allows to nurses to visualize in real time of a very vital parameter of the patient without even moving of the central station of care. Under the chairmanship of MP Sharmak Musa Ari, the Committee on Finance, General Economic and Planning considered this Tuesday, May 6, on the review of the two appeals relating to the financial account 2017 and 2018 of the National Agency for State Information System. The meeting brought together parliamentarian members and non-members of the Finance Committee and took place with the participation of the Minister of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, Radwan Abdullahi Bahdoun, the Director General and the Accounting Officer of the same institution. After a discussion and exchange, the Finance Committee has transmitted with its favorable opinion to the two bills in the public section to the Minister of of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, Radwan Abdullahi Badhan. In this blessed month of Ramadan, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, the National Union of Jewish Women, and the NGO Jewish Women Foundation have jointly organized this morning a ceremony to hand over donations for the benefit of families with children with special needs. The ceremony was attended by Her Excellency Mrs. Mona Usman Aden, Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, the Vice President of the National Union of Jewish Women, Mrs. Hasna Mumine, the Director of Bilateral Relations of the Mercy Gele, Idris Gele, as well as members of the association. The Jewish Foundation Women of the Jewish Diaspora has contributed to this novel initiative to raise a child during this period. Once again, shared by Ms. Ferouz Ali Aden, the association has reiterated its constant commitment to the poorest. Finally, the families have held to express their congratulate and the connection to those who have contributed to the organization of this event. In terms of the Director of Bilateral Relations, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation in charge of Jewish Diaspora Affairs, Mr. Gil Idris Umar, thank and appreciate the Association Jaburi Women Foundation in the Netherlands for this important initiative to help families. This generous gesture has become an annual habit for this association through which it works to provide idle clothes to these children, as well as it continues to support the people suffering from mental illness. He aided. Then he took this opportunity to urge the Jewish diaspora around the world, especially men, to follow the example of this association in order to participate in efforts to support and care for vulnerable groups in society in our country. The Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Ms. Mona Usman Aden, expressed her great pleasure to participate in this event dedicated to the handing over of idle clothes and money to the family of children with special needs in Djibouti. She emphasized that this generous gesture will undoubtedly contribute to alleviate the suffering of these families, highlighting the virtue of the last 10 days of the blessed month of Ramadan. I take this opportunity to congratulate the Djibouti Women's Foundation, which includes many Jewish diaspora of Holland, which provide this valuable assistance every year to improve the condition of families of orphan or families of children with needs. And the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, this Minister Mona then stressed the major role played by the National Union of Women Djibouti to provide this assistance needs family. Finally, she recalled the role accented to the Jewish diaspora approach to the activity participating in the advance of the process, economic and social development of the country, calling on them to organize then contribute to the construction of their beloved homeland, the Republic of Djibouti. The Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, presided this morning the signing of the convention that marks the beginning of the framework of the partnership between Djibouti and France in archaeological research. The signing of a convention that pens the third and Hurat for at least 4 years with the French Embassy and the French Research teaching institution that are the CNRC, the University of Toulouse. The ceremony was attended by the French Ambassador to Djibouti, Arnaud Couloise, the Director General of SER, Jaludin Mohamed, and the Director Irat Saleh Zakaria, the CNRS Research Head of Franco-Egyptian Archaeological Mission, JC Collis, Professor Emerson of the University Paul Valéry Montpellier. The signing of convention that took place at church yesterday for at least 4 years with the base of France research institution was signed by the President, the Minister of Education and Vocational, the research of health Franco, Paul and French. A conference was held yesterday evening at the French institution Arte Rampo on the new book of Haver cultures and Turin archaeologists, Jewish and French. The conference was animated by the great personality of the archaeological world, Miss Haver Coutures. The conference was entitled Landscape and Men, an archaeological work that presents several types and photos of the archaeological sites in the country. The conference was attended by the French ambassador to Djibouti, Miss Arnaud Gouloise, the head of the Franco-Jewish mission, Miss J.C. Collise. As part of the approach of Eid al-Fitr, the director of the National Agency for Persons with Disability, Mr. Doual Saeed Mohammed, organized this morning a ceremony of distributed of gift of Eid al-clothes to the families with the children with special needs in the city of Djibouti. Therefore, the director of the NBH and visited the different schools concerning people with special needs to distribute lots of new clothes that will allow these children to celebrate Eid al-Fitr in unity and joy. Then the ceremony was attended by the president of the Network of Disability People, Mr. Idris Momin, the technical council of the director of the NPH, Mahad Ibrahim, the director of social insertion, Mrs. Shukri Hashim, the director general NBH, took the opportunity to give an overview of the various development programs planned by his agency for the benefit of disability people and children with special needs. The Mosque of the Demerjo hosted this morning the 8th edition of the Quran contest financed by the Deputy of the region of Demerjo, in this case and Jibril Abdullahi Migani. The closing ceremony of the Quranic sub contest saw the participation of the sub-prefect of Demerjo, Mr. Abdishahid Noor, Sheikh Shamsuddin, president of the High Islamic Council, the Imam of the Mosque of Demerjo, Sheikh Faisal Ali Eladiye. The Quranic contest of the place month of Ramadan is organized every Ramadan in Demerjo, and the participation receive gifts from the Deputy of Demerjo locality. At the end of the ceremony, the Imam of the Mosque of Demerjo congratulated the Deputy Jibril for the support of the Quranic contest. In the framework of the child protection, the Minister of Women and Family, in collaboration with the UNICEF, organized in Al Sabi a training workshop for the purpose of the child protection case management platform. This training brought together the different members of the platform, such as UNICEF, UNIFD, the Regional Council, the Ministry of Social Affairs, the Ministry of Health, Education, the Gendarmerie, the Police, and the ulamas of the Asojog region. In the opening remarks, the director of the family, Mrs. Fozia Al Usman, emphasized the importance of this training. The objective of this training was to improve the functioning of the holistic case management platform of the protection. Tournament of the betting Hodayata and the basketball, as usually the regional sub-directorate of Tachura organized in the evening of the Tuesday, May 4, 2021 at the sport complex of Tachura. the first edition of the closing of the tournament of basketball is beaten and Hodoyeta in this place, the month of Ramadan. Therefore, this sporting event was open to all young people in the city of Tajura within the limit of the available place. The state of the regional SEP Directorate hopes that this competition will find more ways to continue to be heard in other SEP prefecture of the region of Tajura. Then, this tournament was prepared in wonderful condition. The letter, which is that this edition of the various discipline help all young players and their guests to express themselves fully because these three games are also an above all moment of sharing, exchange and conviviality. Mr. Abu Bakr Ali Muhammad died on Wednesday, May 5, 2021 in Belgium, born on September 17, 1915 in Tajura. He was 71 years old. He lived behind him a window, 13 children and his many grandchildren. Mr. Abu Bakr Ali Muhammad had retreated about 15 years ago after a full career in the Jewish and public administration. He was part of this generation of the senior officials who had to occur important position during the accession of the country to independence, training at the eastern of the regional administration of Lyon in France between 1975 and 1977. The late Abu Bakr Ali Muhammad began his career in teaching before beginning called the service as Consul General of the Republic of Djibouti in France after independence. Former Secretary General of the National Union of Independence Party in 1975. The late Abu Bakr Ali left behind a large family, including a widow and 10 children in grandchildren. He sent our sincere condolences to all his family, his widow and his children, as well as his brother Hassan Ali Dalka, and pray to God to welcome him in his paradise. May God welcome him in his believing soul in his eternal paradise. And now moving on to the international news. No sign of improvement in India. The country remains plagued by second devastating waves of COVID-19. Officially, the Minister of Health has put the number of deaths due to the coronavirus at over 220,000, but this figure is largely underestimated according to the express. The number of new contamination does not weaken with more than 318,000 new cases listed that last 24 hours. The milestone of the 20 million case was crossed at the beginning of this week. That's it for this edition. Thanks for your attention. Have a wonderful afternoon.